Colin's heart was deep into his afternoon ritual, pretending the automated coffee dispenser was a colleague. He'd named it Marvin, because Marvin never judged the way Colin added 5 sugars and a heroic swirl of powdered creamer to mask the municipal water notes. "Busy day?" Colin asked. Marvin coughed a brown cough into a paper cup. It said nothing, which was typical of upper management. Colin returned to his desk, where a pyramid of action-required folders were auditioning to become modern art. He was on page 2 of an email titled Final reminder, you are in default of the Planetary Resource Compliance Survey, when his old desk phone rang. No one used the landline. The landline was theatre, a prop maintained by facilities to reassure visiting dignitaries that Earth still believed in continuity. It had a cord and everything, a grey spiral like a petrified snail. Colin stared at it, then answered cautiously. Department of Planetary Improvement, Colin speaking. A voice like a wind chime in a cheerful hurricane said, "Good afternoon, Colin. You've reached APOC.com Solutions. This call may be recorded for quality extinction purposes." Colin took a beat. "For what purposes?" "Quality extinction purposes," the voice repeated, chipper. "My name is Zell. Pronouns are they/them. How are you feeling today on a scale of 1 to my atmosphere is screaming?" "Fine," Colin said, although he knew better than to confess feelings to a stranger. "Is this about the survey? I've never defaulted on anything more serious than lunch." "Oh, no worries at all, we're not collections. We're concierge. I'm phoning to confirm your planet's preferred end-of-life package." Colin glanced at the call display, which said simply, "Outside." "I'm sorry?" "Preferred end-of-life package," said Zell, with the slow patience of an airline's safety video. "We have you down for a standard cinematic, meteor strike, tasteful soundtrack, light ash. But there's been a waitlist shuffle, so if you'd like to upgrade to a signature event, we can slot you in next Thursday." Colin massaged his temple, which had developed a small weather system. "I think you've got the wrong department. We handle potholes. And the occasional moon zoning variants." A soft tapping floated over the line, like someone smiling with their fingers. "Oh, you're absolutely the right contact. You're listed as Earth's continuity officer." "No," Colin said, blinking. "I'm the continuity officer pro temp, that's the one," Zell said brightly. "Your species nominated you via Form 12B. The one you all clicked without reading during the Great Radio Census, section free cookies. Lovely data you sent. The Nebula loved your podcast." Colin had a dim memory of a campus volunteer day 20 years ago, when someone with a clipboard had offered a box of chocolate chip cookies if he signed the "We consent to" something. He had assumed it was emails. "So," said Zell, "are we confirming the meteor?" "Hold on," Colin said, his mouth suddenly very dry. "You're saying this is scheduled?" "Oh, absolutely. Galactically speaking, you're a legacy account. Your end-of-service window was docketed about 9,000 years ago as part of Trade Bundle 7, long story involving seashells, star charts, and a god-king who really wanted to be a little taller. Your species has been paying the annual Don't End It Yet fee for ages. Quite resourceful, repackaging the fee as war and culture. But those credits ran out a century ago. We've been extending you month to month." Colin leaned back and surveyed his office, the fern suffering nobly in its beige plastic pot, the window that showed more HVAC than sky, the poster of teamwork featuring 7 penguins and a rope. He pressed the speaker button. "And what happens if I don't select a package?" "Well," Zell said, "you default to the basic, atmospheric disappointment. Sort of a huffy sigh and a quiet collapse. Honestly, no one looks good in it." "What are the options?" Colin asked, because he had never met a list he couldn't at least file. "Oh. So glad you asked." Paper rustled, which was comforting. It meant they were corporeal enough to still inflict paper on people. We have several tasteful selections. 1. The classic meteor. Reliable. Photogenic. Historically beloved. Comes with a debris confetti effect. 2. The Black Hole Express. Efficient, tidy, removes clutter. Not recommended near sentimental keepsakes. 3. The Slow Burn Climate Package. You're already enjoying the free trial. Upgrade for same-day results. 4. Deluxe Invasion Experience. Actors provided. High drama. Souvenir uniforms. 5. Bureaucratic self-ending. Forms propagate until the planet administratively shuts itself down. Very avant-garde. Colin peered at the wall calendar. Next Thursday sported a doodle of a cake, Janice from Budget's birthday. She would be furious if upstaged by a meteor. And you said, next Thursday? We can do a soft rollout Wednesday night if you want something low-key, Zell offered. Or we could pencil you into our Equinox Spectacular. The lighting is phenomenal. Colin did not care for phenomenal lighting. He preferred trees and quiet and coffee machines that didn't wheeze like haunted accordions. I would like to appeal. Absolutely, Zell said, with the genial cruelty of a dentist offering 3 flavors of floss. Appeals are an option. You'll want Form UHT last chance. One moment while I read the disclaimers. Colin opened his bottom drawer and extracted the universal talisman of customer service, a notebook labeled names I will one day use respectfully in a strongly worded letter. Disclaimer 1, Zell sang. Appeals can neither confirm nor deny the existence of hope. 2. Time spent appealing may count toward your end-of-service window. 3. Facts only. Facts? Colin repeated. Facts, Zell confirmed, with the warm pride of a museum docent unveiling a fossil. Under Trade Bundle 7, continuity actions must travel by the most dignified line. And nothing says dignity like a machine that screams while eating. Our last functioning fax machine, Colin said slowly, was repurposed into a sculpture titled What If Paper, but also sad. Art is healing, Zell said. We recommend re-envisioning that piece as interactive. If it helps, appealing will automatically defer your apocalypse for a pause, some tapping. 10 million years. Colin felt the floor shift. The sediment of history had just clogged his shoes. Excuse me? Trial period, Zell chirped. 10 million years free, cancel anytime by fax. It's a very generous promotion. The nebula insisted, they're sentimental about keystone species. Keystone, Colin repeated, because repeating words is what the brain does when it sees the horizon step closer. You know, I'm beginning to feel like I should not be the person making this decision. On the contrary, said Zell. You're very typical. The universe runs on typical people. A memory surfaced, a field trip, age 9, a diorama of an asteroid hitting the Yucatan. He'd pressed his nose to the glass while the guide said it killed the dinosaurs, cleared the stage for mammals, and Colin had thought, perhaps there was a committee. Perhaps someone signed off with a trembling pen and a note, I hope this is the good kind of terrible. Fine, he said. Tell me what the appeal form wants. Wonderful, Zell said. It's brief. Section A, requesting entity, Earth, Colin said. Currently messy. Section B, rationale for extension. Colin considered his city, all its beautiful stubbornness, buskers and birds and the underappreciated heroism of sanitation. He considered Janice's cake. Because we're not finished, he said. And because sometimes we are. Because we're contradictory like that. Spiritual, Zell said, approvingly. Section C, fax number. We don't, Colin stopped himself. The fern, limp but upright, offered no counsel. He took the receiver off speaker, hunched close, and whispered, Zell. Between you and me. Do you want to end us? Oh stars no, Zell said, scandalized. I don't want anything. Wanting is above my pay scale. I process realities. I color code them. It's soothing. My supervisor wants metrics. Their supervisor wants awards. The awards want damp places to grow mold. And the mold, I assume, wants to be left alone. Colin exhaled a laugh that trembled on its landing. So if I send a fax, we live. You defer. Living is your department. Right, he said. Right. He looked around. The office contained 17 desks, 2 employees, the rest remote since the incident with the coffee wasps, and a broken shelf that had been temporarily supported by a stack of unused strategic plans since before his hiring. The fax machine had once lived in the copy room, which now housed an expensive wellness corner, beanbag, essential oils, and a framed photo of a waterfall labeled Breathe, which was good advice if one had remembered to maintain one's atmosphere. He stood. Zell, I'll call you back. Phones are ephemeral, Zell warned. Faxes are forever. Consider me chastened, said Colin, and hung up. The copy room smelled like printer and last summer. The sculpture hulking near the window was unmistakably a fax machine, if a fax machine were a tragic nobleman in a play who had been pierced by a dozen metal rods, then told to pose. The plaque read, "What if paper, but also sad mixed media, fax components, municipal rebar, abject defeat donated by the Committee for Unapologetic Art." Colin approached the thing as one approaches a sleeping dragon, respectfully, with several compliments ready. He ran a finger along its side. Dust strummed his skin. Janice from Budget appeared in the door, clutching a folder to her chest like a moral compass. "What are you doing?" "Appealing," he said. "Against what?" she asked, as if he'd chosen to appeal against the existence of Tuesday. "Mostly the end of everything," Colin said. "Also, the use of olives in team lunches." Janice blinked. She placed the folder on the table. "Do we have a form for that?" "We will," Colin said. "But first we need to convince a work of art to resume employment." Janice sighed in that specific Janice way that made one both braver and more ashamed. "I'll get a screwdriver." Between them, with the patience of people who had once reassembled a scanner using only a butter knife and a promise, they made progress. The rods came out grudgingly. Somewhere deep inside, a spool rolled like a bad idea. Janice plugged the machine in. It emitted a noise like an elephant sneezing through a harmonica. "Alive," Janice declared. "Resurrected," Colin said. "Alive is for beings with payroll entries," Janice said. "This is operational, which is the closest our budget allows." Colin wrote the appeal in his neatest hand on the back of a Form 17, parking for astral visitors, because the paper was good and he didn't have time to requisition stationery with gravitas. 2. APOC.com Solutions Appeals from Earth, Continuity Officer Pro Temp, Re, UHD Last Chance Rationale, we are a contradictory work in progress. We keep making messes. We keep making music. We have not yet invented a polite way to say we are sorry to our grandchildren, but we are practicing. Please grant a deferment so we can practice better. He signed it, then frowned, and added, "P.S. Do you have recommendations for an obligately dignified cover sheet?" Janice produced a post-it shaped like a speech bubble. He stuck it on. They fed the form into the fax machine's maw. The machine contemplated, screeched, and then, with the shuddering dignity of an old elevator, sent. They waited. The machine gargled. Silence. Colin's desk phone rang. He sprinted back, nearly tripping over the fern, which, to its credit, swayed in a supportive manner. "Yes? Hello again." Zell caroled. "We received your fax. Congratulations. Your planet has been granted a promotional eternity plan." "Meaning?" Colin asked. "A deferment of 10 million years, renewable," said Zell, "contingent upon continued maintenance of fax capacity and annual submission of a how it's going haiku." "Haiku," Colin repeated. "As in poems." 17 syllables, Zell said, reverent. We find constraints increase truthfulness. Colin pressed 2 fingers to his eyes until stars bloomed. He dropped his hand and smiled, unwilling but real. Zell, he said, thank you. You're very welcome, Zell said. There's also an optional survey. If you have a moment, how likely are you to recommend APOC.com solutions to a friend? I would prefer to never speak about any of this again, Colin said, with feeling. Ah, said Zell. A 9. Colin hesitated. Zell. Why me? Why this office? Why now? Because you answered, said Zell. And because you had a fax machine. He looked at the sculpture-turned-savior and felt a rush of affection for its obstinate gears. We'll keep it fed. Lovely, said Zell. One more thing, the promotional deferral also entitles you to a starter maintenance kit. What's in the kit? Mostly reminders, Zell said. Try not to cook the ocean. Try not to farm your empathy out to algorithms. Try not to name any weapons after birds. Attend to each other. Refill the trees. Be tender with the future. That sounds. Colin searched for a bureaucratically acceptable word. Ambitious. It's the free version, Zell said. The premium includes stickers. He laughed, and this time it didn't tremble. We'll make do. Splendid, Zell said. Well, unless there's anything else, I'll let you get back to improving your planet. Wait, Colin said. Are we the only ones getting calls like this? Everyone gets calls like this, said Zell. Not always from us. Sometimes from their own children. Sometimes from art. Sometimes from a weather report delivered at the exact wrong moment. The universe is very diligent. It has to be, with so much entropy lying about. Colin looked out through the slice of window not blocked by HVAC, where a wedge of sky had remembered its blue. Then I suppose we'll answer. That's the spirit, Zell said. Good luck not ending. The line clicked, and the office was full again, printer hum, distant laughter, the fern's leaf leaning as if to eavesdrop on the sun. The memo Colin sent to the department read, subject, minor administrative update body, effective immediately. The sculpture in copy has been reassigned to fax duty. Please submit any poetic haikus to Janice. Also, going forward, when end-of-the-world paperwork arrives, do route it to facilities. They tend to declare everything a light bulb. Thanks. He closed his email and stood by the window, the sun a gold coin someone had forgotten to spend. Across the city, people were doing what people do, buying bread, committing small heroics, finding creative ways to disappoint and astonish one another. 10 million years is a long time, he thought, and also not very long at all. He wondered what the first haiku should say. Janice stuck her head in his doorway. You're coming to the break room? Cake. Absolutely, he said. He paused, then added, we should probably buy a second fax machine. 2. Janice said, sounding almost excited. Redundancy, he said. Also, stickers. Janice squinted. Stickers are not in the budget. I happen to know a nebula, Colin said. Janice considered this and nodded, the way you nod when your colleague tells you something about their afternoon that sounds like a metaphor. I'll bring a knife. They walked to the break room together. Someone had written Happy Birthday Janice on a banner and miscounted the ends. The cake was lemon, because that's what the bakery had available on short notice. The frosting was thick enough to insulate a small igloo. It tasted like sugar and proof of life. When the candles were lit, the room fell into that quiet-held breath, the moment before numbers appear on the exchange wall of a life. Then everyone cheered and sang, badly but earnestly, and Janice made a wish he would never disclose and blew them out in one long, confident wind. Colin clapped. He thought about the list in his drawer titled Names I Will One Day Use Respectfully in a strongly worded letter, and he wrote a new list in his mind titled Things to Keep, beginning with, Fans that try, friends who sigh and fetch screwdrivers, lemon cake, the brief and ridiculous miracle of bureaucracy saving anything at all. He looked over at the copy room door, where the resurrected fax machine sat like an elderly knight, humming softly, ready to scream with dignity when called upon. 10 million years, he murmured. Speak up, Janice said, cutting slices. I left my good hearing in accounting. Nothing, Colin said. Just gratitude. He took his cake. Somewhere very far away, a cheerful voice completed a form and awarded themselves a tiny sticker, successfully deferred one apocalypse, provisional. Somewhere very close, someone laughed at a joke that wasn't very good, and laughter made it good enough. The planet continued. Not forever. Just for now. Which, as any continuity officer pro tempore could tell you, is the only unit of forever that counts. And that concludes customer support for the apocalypse. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you don't miss future uploads. More narrated sci-fi stories are coming your way every week. Thanks again for watching, and remember, always answer your phone. You never know when it might be customer support for the apocalypse.